So
a good championship lead. I think I was saying to my son on the way up here that you could sit out races 1 and 2 and you'd still have the championship lead, but you're still going for those points and places.
yeah, for sure. You know, we've got a decent lead anyway, so you know we don't really need to do anything stupid. But you know, we're always here to win, and we want to get wins and race. Yeah, so we will always do our best. But yeah, we were happy with that result in the end.
Happy with the car for race 3?
Yeah, so far car seems really good, so we'll see how it goes in race 3.
Okay, cheers for talking to us. Well done on the podium, Miles. Great race. Miles Rubb in their 3rd position. John Mickle in P2 and Will Gibson, the race winner here on Anglesey. Superkarts next up. Some of the drivers in Legends have come from Superkarts. Some of them have done it in the past and gone back to Superkarts. So we've got a great race coming up. So I'll hand you back to Scott Woodward, who'll call you through the latest formula for you to see here on our BRSCC race day.
Thank you indeed, Richard. Yes, we've got some excellent action coming up. From one small little set of pocket rockets to another, because of course we've now got the first of 3 races this weekend to mark the 2nd meeting of the year for the 2022 Motorsport UK British Superkart Championship. If you watched some of these races last year on our live stream coverage, particularly those here at Anglesey and also at the Superkart Grand Prix that we had at Donington Park, there was a thriller from start to finish, including the last sort of red flag and sprint to the finish. You know, these superkarts are quicker beyond belief in some cases, and one person who knows all about that and someone who'll be doing the bulk of the commentary for these particular races is Gary James, who's of course like a self-proclaimed supercar expert in many cases and championship commentator for them as well. Of course, Gary, superkarts, in typical for those who haven't seen them, these aren't just regular go-karts either. These are pretty. This is pretty much, if you want to call them as a ranking of where they sit in the karting world. This is essentially, cliche to say it for some I know it sounds, but the Formula 1 of karting. These are the fastest of the fast.
Exactly, yeah. These are the Formula 1 of karting, Scott, and this is obviously the British Championship, so you'll see the top drivers from the country competing this weekend over the 3 races. And unfortunately, while the grid lacks numbers, we're only down to 20, but you've got some very quick drivers out there. You've got on pole position the GP kart of Lee Harpham. GP signifies that obviously he won the Grand Prix at Donington last September, and his pole position time was only 5/1000ths of a second outside the existing lap record, which was set here last year by his fellow front row starter. That's the Zero Kart, the UK Cup winner Liam Morley. Liam Morley, a 9 times Grand Prix winner, and finished runner-up in the CIK European Superkart Championship a few years ago. Row 2, we see the #1 kart of Ross Allen, reigning champion in the Division 1 category. And just a quick identifier for you, the Division 1 250 twin cylinders are the yellow number plates with the black numbers. The 250 national category, that's the white number plates with the black numbers. And further back on the grid, the 125 category, that's the blue plates with the white numbers. So continuing the grid, heading up row 2 is the 1 of Ross Allen. He's joined by the 7 kart of Andrew Gulliford. Row 3 we see the 42 of Alan Withrow and the 9 kart of Andy Waite. Row 4 is the first of the 250 nationals as Sean Lombardo somehow manages to spin it on the warming up lap. But yeah, starting row 4 is the 101 of Lee Plain, reigning champion of 250 nationals. He's joined by the 57 of Mark Pass. Row 5, 35 Samantha Hempshaw and 29 Tom Hatfield. Row 6, 49 Michael Parr and 43 Sean Lombardo. Row 7, 125 Luke Plain and 6 John Faulkner. Row 8, 161 Richard Connick, and the 89, that's the first, the 125s, that's Shane Stoney. Row 9, the 55 kart of Ross Withrow, and 87 Jack Tritton. Row 10, 83 Paul Vaughan Gerard, and finally 62 Andy Powell. So that completes your grid of 20. Stream round the hairpin on the warming up lap. That's the 6 kart of John Faulkner. Lights on the pace car are out, so we will be going for a start this time around. 12-minute race for the first race of the Superkarts this weekend. 3 races. The best 2 results from the weekend from the 3 races will count towards the championship, and leading the Division 1 category at the moment with the maximum score from Cadwell Park is the GP of Lee Harpham. Red lights are on. Looks like we're going to be going for a start this time. Lights out and away we go, and it's Harpham from the inside of the front row that gets the jump, but no, it's not. It's the 0 of Liam Morley that sweeps round the outside to take the lead as they head up to the hairpin for the first time. Andy Gulliford, the 7 kart looking racy up the inside, gets 3rd place from Ross Allen, and it's Andy Waite and Alan Withrow as all safely through the hairpin for the first time and through Church and onto the back straight. And it is the zero kart of Liam Morley, a couple of lengths clear of his main rival. That's the GP of Lee Harpham. Andy Gulliford tucks in behind, but Ross Allen looking for a move there to snatch third place. We pick up the 35 of Samantha Hemschel, who's lost a few places there at the start. She was second quickest in the 250 national category after qualifying, but up at the front it's Ross Allen that's now up into third spot ahead of the 7 kart of Andy Gulliford. But the zero kart of Liam Morley already starting to stretch his legs. The chain broke in qualifying, that's why he pulled off halfway through the session. So unfortunately wasn't able to challenge Lee Harpham for that pole position, but those two have pulled away as they head up towards the hairpin for this second time. And Harpham looking for a move up the inside. Now was Morley in trouble there? They're certainly side by side on the exit as they head back towards us to complete lap 2. Alan Withrow slightly wide on the exit, kicks up the dust, but it's side by side and it's Harpham that takes it. And has slightly overshot the corner, and that allows the zero kart of Liam Morley to regain the lead. So Harpham making his presence felt from these early stages, and Morley knows he's got a fight on his hands, but retakes the lead. So it's still the zero from the GP. Ross Allen there in third place. Then it's Andy Gulliford coming under pressure from Alan Withrow. Looking further back, Lee playing the 101. Leads the 250 national category from Tom Hatfield. Samantha Hemschel was third in the 250 nationals, and leading the 125s is the 55 of Ross Withrow. That's the son of the 42 kart of Alan Withrow. So the 125 shaping up to be a nice battle between Ross Withrow, Jack Tritton there, second place in the 125s, and Shane Stoney third. But we pick up the battle for the 250 nationals. That's the 101 of Lee Plain being chased by the 29 of Tom Hatfield, one of the Parker Motorsport drivers. His teammate 43 Sean Lombardo was the one that had to spin on the warming up lap, but Andy Gulliford still being chased by the 42 of Alan Withrow, but it's still Lee Harpham that's chasing Liam Morley in second spot as they cross the line to complete laps, and it's Morley that has now got the fastest lap of the race, a 1:23.714. So still about half a second offside the lap record. Mark Pask coming under pressure as Tom Hatfield throws a move up the inside. So a change of position on track, but not a change of position in class. Hatfield aware that the 101 of Lee Plain has broken away and needs to get Mark Pass behind him, so Tom Hatfield can move up onto the back of his 250 national rival. But up at the front it's still the zero kart of Liam Morley that leads the way from the GP of Lee Harpham. 5 lengths clear now for the zero kart. And earlier on in the year at Cadwell Park, Liam Morley could only pick up a pair of second places, so Lee Harpham picked up maximum points that time around, 3 wins on the day. Leads the series on 50 points with Morley 10 points behind on 40 with 2 second places, but it's Morley that leads the way this time around. To complete 3 laps, and it's Morley from Harpham. Ross Allen still there in third place, but he's now 3.8 seconds behind the leaders. Alan Withrow still there in fourth spot. Then it's Andy Gulliford, the 7 kart, ahead of Andy Waite. And leading the 250 nationals, as we see on screen, is the 101 of Lee Plain. Now Mark Pask has got back up ahead of the 29 of Tom Hatfield, so that's not helping Tom Hatfield's chances of closing the gap to the leader in the 250 nationals. But Tom is safely clear of in third place in the 250 nationals is the 49 kart of Michael Parr. And then further back it's still Withrow, Tritton and Shane Stoney in the 125 category. extends his lead as they head up towards the hairpin for the 4th time. Ross Allen having a lonely drive there in that's 3rd place. Spoke to him earlier on today, and he was hoping to get into the 124s. Still, he appreciates that he's not quite as quick as the 2 guys in front of him, but set a personal best last time around, a 124.577. So Ross Allen doing the best that he can there in 3rd place, reigning champion. Denotes obviously the one on his kart. Comes through to complete the lap. But it's this battle of Gulliford and Withrow that we pick up. Gulliford back up ahead of Withrow to get that full spot, but Withrow round the outside. So Aaron Withrow and his son made the short hop across the Irish Sea. And Alan normally races in the Northern Ireland Championships at Nuts Calder and Bishop's Court, but enjoying his trip to the Trackmore and Anglesey circuit, but coming under pressure from Andy Gulliford, the 7 car. Andy spent a couple of times in Europe this season racing as part of the French Championship, managed to get a podium at Magny-Cours a few weeks ago, up to the Rocket Complex, and that's Andy Waite, the 9 kart, trying to close in onto the back of those 2. Andy Waite did actually retire at the end of last season, but has bought another kart and come out of retirement, so this is his first race for about 6 or 9 months, and Andy Waite now challenging his close friend, the 7 kart of Gulliford. Both these drivers used to race years ago in the F450 4-stroke category, but are now doing battle again in the Division 1 class. As Waite goes for a move into the hairpin, throws it up the inside, and yes, does he get the move done? Yes. So Waite moves up into, that's the 5th spot. But up at the front after 5 laps, it is still Morley from Harpham. Another fastest lap from Liam Morley, a 1:22.753. So that's a new lap record from the 0 kart of Liam Morley. Breaks his own record that he sets here last July. And the gap between him and Lee Harpham now 2.765 seconds as Morley stretches the lead over the GP kart. Ross Allen still there, the 1 kart in 3rd place, but now 7.3 seconds behind the leader. So I think Ross is going to be settling for a safe 3rd place, just coming up to 4 minutes left on the clock. Still look at this battle now between Gulliford, sandwich in the middle of the sandwich between Withrow and Andy Waite. So Witherow's still there in 4th spot, Andy Gulliford in 5th, Andy Waite there in 6th place. That completes the top 6 in the Division 1. Then in 7th place on the road is the 101. That's the first of 250 Nationals, which is Lee Plain. And Tom Hatfield still stuck up behind the 57 kart of Mark Pask. So Ross Allen comes through to complete 6 laps. Still Morley that's now extending his lead to just over 4.5 seconds over the GP kart, Lee Harpham. He changed a few things from testing yesterday, a few wing changes and setup chassis changes, hoping that he could take the challenge to Liam Morley, but Morley, despite a broken chain, knew that he'd got a bit more pace to come. And now Morley coming on to the back of the 62 kart of Andy Powell to put a lap over on him. So Morley streaking away, a 1:22.753, as I say, new lap record. Just dropped off about 7/10 on the previous lap, but and just slightly compromised there as they go up towards the hairpin, but managed to get the lap done on the 62 kart of Andy Powell. So momentary lapse for Liam Morley, but yes, as you can see the gap there, there's GP kart of Lee Harpham still giving chase, but I think the best that Lee can do in this race is solid 2nd place as he tries to put also a lap on the 62 kart of Andy Powell. Gets through as they cross the line, safely through. So Morley up to the hairpin, gets through safely, and these Division 1 twin cylinder karts probably down the back straight, probably approaching something like 140 mile an hour, and before they brake heavily at the top of the hill for Rocket. up in the GP kart safely there in second place. It's still Ross Allen there in third spot as they've all completed 7 laps now. Withrow still there in fourth ahead of Andy Waite, Andy Gulliford. Lee Plain still leading the 250 Nationals from Tom Hatfield, who's got back up ahead of the 57 kart of Mark Pask. Liam Morley coming up to lap one of the 125 karts. That's the 83 kart of Paul Von Gerard. Moves out the way, and Liam Morley safely through. So we're just coming down to 1 minute to go. So I suspect that Liam Morley will see the last lap board as he comes down the hill this time. Harpen just emerges out of the hairpin, tries to give chase, but last lap board being readied. And he's shown to the 0 kart. Starts his last lap, and the gap now up to 5.5 seconds. Morley backed off a bit more, 1:23.8 last time round, so nearly a second slower than his fastest lap, and a lap record earlier in the race. Knows that he hasn't got to push it. I suspect he's probably getting some signals from his dad on pit wall. And knows that, barring any mechanicals, that it's going to be 25 points and the race win from this first outing of the Superkarts for the weekend. 2 more races to come tomorrow. And we pick up the 49 of Michael Parr. Now Michael Parr is holding up, let's see, he's got Samantha Hempshaw, Sean Lombardo. They're battling for 4th place in the 250 national category. It's Morley up to the hairpin for the final time. Safely through that, and no one else between him and Harpham. Flag being readied as Morley comes into the final corner. Safely through, checker flag being readied and waved to the Superkart winner. That's the 0 kart of Liam Morley. 25 points to add to his 40 from Cadwell Park. The Harpham gets a solid second place there, but the gap at the flag 6.3 seconds. And then the lapped kart of Paul Von Gerard. Third place is the 1 kart of Ross Allen, who we're still waiting to see come out of the final bend. So Ross Allen gets 3rd spot. And then across the line it is Alan Withrow that just holds off Andy Waite and Annie Gulliford. Lee Plain takes the class win in the 250 national category, with Tom Hatfield getting 2nd spot. And Samantha Hempshaw has got past Mike Parr on the final lap. So the 35 car of Samantha Hempshaw takes 3rd in the 250 national category from Mike Parr. And looking further back, the win in the 125 category goes to the 55. Now has still waiting for the 55 kart of Ross Withrow to cross the line. He certainly wasn't lapped. Now what has happened to... So what has happened to Ross Withrow, because the win in the 125 category on the final lap goes to the 87 kart of Jack Tritton, as we pick up the 49 of Michael Parr that was heading towards what looked like a 3rd or 4th place in class, and has there been contact, because the 55 of Alan Withrow has broken down. He's trying to get the kart mobile again, but a problem for the 55 on the final lap. The class leader in the 125s of Ross Withrow, and I think he's going to try and push it across the line to get the finish. So I think as Paul Von Gerard was lapped, Ross may be given 3rd place, or has he been waved off the circuit? But the win goes to the 0 kart of Liam Morley, and hopefully Richard will be down in Parc Fermé to try and get a word with the top 3.
Yeah, hopefully so. Great stuff on that one, Gary. Of course, it's always exciting to watch British Superkarts in action. So excellent stuff from our top 3 there. It just shows that the cream in many cases always does tend to rise to the top. And looking at the numbers, of course, the 0, the GP plate, and the 1. So that's some of the best drivers that we've got on the grid.
They are indeed,
that are getting up to the top.
And certainly they're the best drivers that also compete in Europe when they can as well, Scott. So yes, you're looking at the top guys in the Division 1 category. It's just a shame that there's not a few more of them out there, but good display, and say a lap record from Liam Morley that shaved what 3/10 off of his lap record from last year. So that concludes the Superkart action for today. We'll have 2 races tomorrow, and I'll be joining you on the mic again tomorrow.
You certainly will. Thank you for that, Gary. Just confirmation of the result then. Liam Morley takes the overall victory from Lee Harper, Ross Allen, Alan Witherow, Alan Waite in the top 5, then Andrew Gullifield. The Plane wins the 250 class from Tom Hatfield, Mark Pascal, and Samantha Hempshall. Then Sean Lombardo, Luke Plane, and Richard Connick. Then Jack Tritton, who wins the 125 category from Shane Stoney, Paul Von Gerard, and then Andrew Powell. And the karts that we lost, sadly, were Michael Parr, Ross Witherow, and John Faulkner. And Liam Morley also takes the fastest lap of the race on 22.753. So, as Gary alluded to, looks like Richard should be down there to have a chat to our top 3. What was a very entertaining first Motorsport UK British Superkart race of the weekend. Let's see what the top 3 have to say about that.
Okay, let's get our race winner, Liam Morley, over to have a word first. Congratulations on taking the win. Many congratulations. 12 minutes, not long enough for us. I think we could do with some longer races because they're absolutely fascinating to watch. It's been a while since I've seen the Superkarts, and the speed is just incredible. I don't know how you guys cope with that, but good circuit for these karts.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, 12 minutes might not be long enough here, but it is for us. But yeah, you know, made a good start.
No, it's always nice to get.
Lee showed his nose a couple of times, but
good. Okay, well, I'll do the same tomorrow.
Managed to pull a gap, and
if you want to chip in at any time, you know,
messages on
just
the
feel free. You know, if there's any questions about the class structures or why has someone got a 0 and why has someone got a GP.
You've got 2 races tomorrow, so obviously today is mainly the free practice that you had and then qualifying, but much to do.
Check it over, bang some new tyres on, and see how we go.
Okay, I'll let you get on with that. Thanks. Congratulations on a win. Fine win as well there. Let's talk to the pole position man. Comes home in second, Lee Harpham. So Lee coming over. Good to see you, Lee. Congratulations. Didn't quite go to plan then to convert pole into the win, unfortunately.
No, I mean, it's always close with Liam, usually anyway. I made a mistake coming down to the last corner. I was beside, ran a bit wide, and then outbraked myself up the top. And he sort of gapped me, so I thought, well, sort of have to sit here now and get it home.
Not too much damage because Cadwell went well for you.
Yeah, Cadwell was really good. We had a brilliant meeting that meeting, so we've made some big changes to the kart, which is a little bit more to find, like as always.
Been here overnight, maybe sorting that out for the 2 races tomorrow.
Hopefully improve tomorrow and have.
Nice one, Lee. Thanks very much.
Apologies for any additional issues that we are having with the camera down there. Of course, I think we are going to record the interviews anyway, so we can possibly have a chat, look at those, and any highlights going forwards. But the next races that are coming up now is at least a race that I'm sure many people on the BRC streams are very familiar with and enjoy very much so, because it's time for some Formula Fords, and it is another combined grid for the Avon Tyres BRCC National and Northern and Super Classic Formula Ford Championship. So a near capacity grid, 33 cars here at Anglesey, which is a brilliant turnout all round for Anglesey here on the Welsh coast. And we've got some of the best Formula 4 drivers in the country, alongside some of the best regional drivers in the Northern Super Classics. The bulk of the entry, apart from one car, I believe, is all cars that are aged 1998 or older. So, heading into this race, it was a championship lead for Jordan Dempsey, who's the man on the front row of the grid to the left-hand side in the white and blue Kevin Mills Racing Run Spectrum. But alongside him on pole position is the man who won last year's epic Formula Ford Festival, the 50th edition, and it was Jamie Sharp. He starts on pole position, took his first ever National Formula Ford win here in the wet at Anglesey. So he's looking to try and repeat that feat and going the right way about it with pole position. Then we have Lucas Romanek, and who's starting on the second row of the grid in the black and white car. He starts alongside Colin Queen on that one. As they now get set for their race, Colin Queen is the red and white Ammonite Motorsport race chassis on the right-hand side, and then there's the black and white car, Lucas Romanek. The third row of the grid is the Morgan Quinn car. That's the dark blue Team Dolan car the Irishman. He starts alongside another of the Amalite Motorsport cars. I'll bring up the grid on my screen, so I'll be able to have a look and see who starts where on this one. The first few rows are pretty clear in that sense. So the grid for race 1 is as follows. So Jamie Sharp, we said, starts on pole position alongside Jordan Dempsey on the front row of the grid. Colin Queen, who is one of the main championship contenders, battling with Jordan Dempsey. He starts on the 3rd row of the grid. He's the 2nd red car on the right, alongside Lucas Romanek, who is on the 4th position. And then we have row 3, which is Morgan Quinn, car number 88, alongside number 32, Sean Rashid, who's one of his personal best qualifying performances with P6. Then it's Benjamin Cockram and Andre Lafond, who start on the 4th row of the grid, from Brandon McCorkham and Davide Maloney. Good to have the Italian back on the grid. It is a pair of South African Invitational drivers, both driving for Kevin Mills Racing. It is Josh LaRue and Alex Voss, both from South Africa, who race on the 6th row of the grid. Alongside them is Murray Shepherd, who is a former low-cost racer, who has done all sorts of racing. His first season racing Formula 4 1600s. He starts 13th on the grid alongside Gabe Tesh, who's the youngster from America, another one of the Team Dolan cars. And it's Tom Nippers, the independent. I think his father's name is Michael, who was a former Renault racer. And then Bryn Kinch, who did some Champion of Brands racing last year. And he is the 3rd of the 4 Amalite Motorsport race chassis. Then we go back to the Northern Super Classic cars. They are the front 2 going through the shot now. So it's John Murphy, who leads in Super Classic B, no, Super Classic A, who starts on pole position for the Northern contingent, Carlin 131. He starts alongside BRSCC chairman and Formula Ford enthusiast